There is now.
Gotta start recording first.
Call meeting to order. You want to take the roll, please?
Mayor Zakowski. Alderman Kittle.
Here.
Alderman Vries. Alderman Weinmeier. Alderman Montello.
Here.
Alderman Volkert. Alderperson Kraft.
Here.
Do I hear a motion to adopt the agenda with one change? We're dropping 9.3, rezoning application for Nature's Energy. We're not going to discuss that tonight because in our questions session, we're only giving 15 minutes. And what we want to do is have a separate meeting completely just for this one item. We don't feel that in 15 minutes, there's some people that can't make it tonight, so we want to have a separate meeting just on this issue. So that is taken off the agenda for tonight.
Mr. Mayor, I'll offer a motion that we approve the agenda as amended. I'll second.
Take the roll, please.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert. Alderperson Kraft.
Yes.
Motion passes. Consent agenda. Your motion to pass the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Say aye. Aye. Opposed? So moved.
Yeah, public comments.
I checked the list, there was nothing else on here.
Fine.
Still do public
I
comments.
thought Vicky was going to talk about
Jim, Jim,
Didn't sign up.
Jim, we can still do public comment.
You have to sign up now. You have to sign up now.
Under government, you would go to meeting calendar and
Correct. We're going to have a separate meeting for that, and this could be the only thing on the agenda is the bio, Nature's Energy. Okay?
Say again, Tom?
We haven't set a date yet.
Sooner than later, can you put that down?
It's not on the agenda anymore, so there's no public comments on it. On this issue. But if there's any other, there were no other items on here for public comment because you had to sign up for them when you came in. Not on the agenda for the biosolids. So that will be at another meeting.
Beth, we have a policy that we just changed maybe 6 months ago. Public comment has to be germane to the agenda, and you have a 3-minute limit. If it's not on the agenda anymore, then if anybody else wants to make a public comment about something other than that, we would welcome that.
We're going to have a public hearing. I declare the public hearing open for impact fee 2022 needs assessment.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As we discussed during the May work session, we have a couple of slides to go over tonight for the public hearing related to the needs assessment with the impact fees. So can you go to the second slide?
Rayanne, sorry, can you speak more into the microphone?
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, thank you. So, Christy, can you show it as in slideshow view?
Mr. Mayor, I'm having a hard time hearing. I wonder if we could maybe clear the hall, please?
Michelle, can you tell them that we're...
Thank you.
So I also believe that John Cameron with
shut the
You can't shut the doors.
Can't shut the doors.
No.
Oh, don't shut the doors.
Can't you?
Don't shut the door.
Leave the door open.
Well, they can leave one closed.
Leave one open.
Yeah, leave them both open.
If it's something on the agenda,
No, they have to sign in
You
now.
have to sign in.
you didn't sign in? About natures? Oh,
Something else? Okay.
Go ahead, Vicky.
yeah,
Oh, wait a second, we do,
just come on up.
oh, wait, we do, excuse me, we do have one for the library and one for, that's it. Sorry, Vicki, I missed it.
That's okay. That's all right. Okay, good evening, council. This evening, you will have an opportunity to vote in favor of proceeding with the library project. I, as a 48-year resident of New Richmond, have raised 4 children here and used the public library. And I've also been a member for 10 years, trustee of the library board. And we have engaged in for several years, all of us, in a quest to get a new updated front porch learning center built in our community. The project quest has taken turns and reroutes that I and most of you did not anticipate. As we look forward, though, in the end, I believe that we've come with a good plan to meet the learning needs of our growing community. I thank all of you on the council, as well as the library board and the education ambassadors of our area, and hope that this evening you will vote in favor of proceeding with the library project so we can put a shovel in the ground. So thank you for your time. I just wanted to reflect on that before your later vote.
Thanks, Vicki. Now the public hearing is open, impact fee 2022 needs assessment.
All right, good evening, Mayor and Council. I believe John Cameron with Ellers is also on via virtually this evening. But as you are aware, since 2002, the city has been collecting impact fees. The collection of impact fees helps to assist in paying for capital costs that are associated with new development. This past August, the city engaged with Ellers to conduct an updated needs assessment, which updated our 2015 study. The needs assessment identifies eligible projects and determines the associated fee with the capital costs of those projects. Following completion of the needs assessment study, the study was reviewed with council and discussed at the May work session. Subsequently, too, we published a Class 1 notification for the public hearing. And then this evening, we're holding the public hearing and then requesting action on the needs assessment and subsequent ordinance and then impact fee resolution as well. In the needs assessment, we've identified just over $28 million in project costs, with $12.9 million being eligible for an impact fee recovery. And in front of you is a summary of those and by category. The categories in which we can collect impact fees includes law enforcement, library, parks, transportation, stormwater, water, and sewer. Next slide, please. This is just a brief overview, too, of each project that's incorporated in the needs assessment and then the corresponding category in which they fall under. Those that are highlighted with an asterisk are projects that have already occurred but are eligible to recoup the debt service payments underneath an impact fee structure as well. So I won't go over these in great detail. We covered these in our individual meetings and then also in the May work session. But if there's any questions, we'd be happy to answer any project-specific ones. I think we have one more slide that shows the other categories as well. So moving on to the next slide, the impact that this would have. Currently, underneath our 2015 study, we collect a fee for municipal facilities, one for parks, water, sewer, and transportation. For a residential home, a single-family home, that fee is about $4,400. Oh, can you go back to that slide, Christy? Yes, thank you. That second column over that says proposed impact fee, that would be the new structure based upon our 2022 needs assessment, where municipal facilities would be reclassified as library and law enforcement, parks, stormwater, which would be a new fee, water, sewer, and transportation for a total of $6,611. the difference being 2,211 on a single-family home or resident. When we look at commercial and industrial, next slide, please. The current structure is based upon the water meter size to assess those impact fees, and we would be going to a structure that is based upon square footage of the development for commercial and industrial. And on the single family, it goes by residential equivalent unit as opposed by the meter. The fees that would track to the water meter size would continue to be the water and the sewer fees that are associated, but all other fees would be tracking to either the square footage or a residential equivalent unit. Craig?
So,
Did you-
just to be clear, this is for new homes that
Correct.
impact the city by bringing these homes into the city, having nothing to do with old homes or current taxes or anything like that.
Correct. This is
Okay.
for new development. There are, in our current ordinance and what is proposed this evening, there is some, if there was a development that drastically differed, that was a renovation, for example, a single-family residence may be going to a multi-unit kind of complex, that could be subject to impact
just-
fees, but
Yeah, I just wanted to make it clear
Yep,
for
it's
everybody
for
here
new
that
development.
this is for new development, new developers coming into town.
correct. So underneath the current residential, again, it goes by the meter size. Underneath the proposed structure on the next slide, again, we would be looking at a square footage assessment. And underneath the commercial and industrial development structure, those developments would not be charged a library fee or a parks fee because that type of development does not impact that service in the community or that development in the community. So it's matching the type of development and the impact it has on our infrastructure. So then can you go to the next slide, please? An example for a non-residential structure for a 3,000 square foot commercial building, again, there would be a law enforcement, a stormwater, a water, a sewer, and a transportation based upon the square footage of the building for the law enforcement, stormwater, and transportation, and then the water and the sewer would be based upon the water meter coming into the building. So underneath this structure, total fees would be $20,618. As we've been going through this process, we have received feedback from a few local developers that had requested copies of the needs assessment, which was provided. That also, they passed that along to the Builders Association for legal review. And some of the feedback that we just received was overall, we were applauded by the proper procedures being followed, engaging Ellers to assist us in that process. And then also that the areas of kind of comment were the stormwater fee structure, feeling that that should be more developer focused based upon where the area is that's being developed. However, when we looked at the needs assessment, the stormwater utility would look from the greater of the whole of that infrastructure in place in that utility. And so many of these projects are occurring in a certain area of the city but have a benefit to the overall infrastructure or put pressure on the overall infrastructure, and therefore staff as well as Ellers still recommend moving forward with a stormwater fee to help cover those future developments. And then the last portion too was the consideration of the fee with the library project, feeling that that was a significant expense. However, again, the cost of the library project building in the study was listed as 10 million. We did reduce that down at 8.5 with an eligible impact fee recovery of 2.8 million. So we did take a more conservative approach on that as well. And so again, staff would support what is encompassed in the needs assessment from a library structure fee, but we wanted to pass along those comments to the council from that developer. If there's any other questions, that's the prepared information that we have this evening for the needs assessment.
Questions from the council?
Rand, you showed, and I apologize if I missed this, you showed the impact for commercial buildings. Had there been a previous one where we could compare like, we were able to compare for residential impact what it used to be under the old impact fee schedule and the new. Is there an opportunity to do that with commercial or not really?
Well, there is. I mean, we can use kind of a similar fee structure, but with the old, well, I should say with our current structure, it's based upon water meter size.
Okay, so it's changing
So it's
significantly.
changing
Okay,
to go from the square footage of the development. And again, the only items that would be associated with the meter size are going to be the water and sewer, which there's
Okay.
a direct nexus
okay.
there.
Any other questions? Does anyone else wish to speak? Does anyone else wish to speak? Does anyone else wish to speak? I declare the public hearing closed. Action on the public hearing. Ordinance 598, amending section 117-16, impact fees. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Further discussion?
I just wanted to make a note, Mayor, of the changes in this ordinance. So there are two sections that are proposed to be amended, which is section 3 and 4, which ties the residential impact fee and the commercial fee to the water meter size, which would be changing based upon the new needs assessment. And then also adding back in the appeals process, which had remained previously silent in the ordinance, but is required as part of state statute.
I take the roll, please.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert. Alderperson Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Resolution 062301, amending impact fee schedule. Do you hear a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve Resolution 062301.
I'll second it.
Rand, just,
Questions?
I just ran the effective date of the new impact fees. What is that?
For the resolution, we are proposing July 1st of this year.
My tablet's on the fritz, so I'm driving dark.
Yep, no, I was just gonna mention it after the motion.
Any other questions? Take the roll, please.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert. Alderperson Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Motion passes. New business, Fun Fest 2023.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Included in your agenda packet this evening is an updated map showing the proposed location for FunFest. FunFest this year will be July 13th through the 16th. We had some discussion last time. There were a few revisions to the map near the Methodist Church. So there were previously rides shown on the south and on the west side of the church. Those have since been removed. So you can see on the map on the screen, the pink or purple designated area would be for the carnival. The light blue area shown on Arch Avenue would be more of your some of the games, and then some of the non-local food booth vendors, so your funnel cake and some of those things. The food booths would be in the parking lot behind Wild Badger, so same location as last year. The bands would be in the parking lot behind Champs and Mallards. You can see the orange area as designated is the emergency access, so that's the alleyway. And then the red area on the map is shown on Knowles Avenue. That would be no parking. We've done that the last couple of years. It's not shown on the map, but we do that on both sides of Knowles Avenue on that 200 block just for visibility. In terms of just a few more specifics, the chamber submitted applications for closing the streets and alleys. So for purposes of the permit, that would begin Sunday, July 9th at 7:00 p.m. And the permit would extend until Monday, July 17th at 1:00 p.m. So if there's additional tear down and trucks loading up on Monday morning yet. In terms of parking, grass parking would once again be available on the former middle school site. The Civic Center parking lot, if you see on the map, is still shown as available parking, so similar to last year. So the public could still park there, and the drive-through would still be open for First National Community Bank. In terms of extension of premise, we received 2 applications, one from Champs and from Mallards. We're still waiting for some additional information on those, and those would be reviewed by the chief of police. But we feel comfortable making the recommendation that rather than bring those back at the July meeting, which is the week of FunFest, have those be subject to approval by the chief. In terms of our recommendations, we recommend approval of the applications that have been submitted. And we noted a couple things on here just based on feedback from the last work session. So we think it would be advantageous for everyone to have a recap meeting within a month after the conclusion of FunFest, what went well, what needs to be improved. We noted that the two applications for the extension of premise, again, those would just be subject to review and approval by the chief of police. We have comments in here just regards to making sure the emergency access lane is not obstructed by carnival rides, that rides stay at least 30 feet back from Knowles Avenue, just again, if a kid runs into the road. So we'd like to have a little bit of a buffer there. We want to make sure that driveways providing access to the public parking lot by the food court aren't obstructed. We'd like to have multiple ways. You get a lot of people. If there was an emergency, we don't want everybody crowding out one exit. So just keeps things open there. We would have we just noted that while dumpsters are shown on the west end of East 3rd Street, we don't want to obstruct that. So in the event that emergency services vehicles have to get through there, we don't want them having to move dumpsters. So making sure that at least it stays open, that they could get in there if needed. And then another recommendation from staff, again, based on feedback, is just, and hopefully something that going forward, FunFest is still relatively new from the standpoint that it was at the Tech College for a number of years, but going forward, having the application submitted at the same time as the parade permit. That way, both the chamber board, city staff, everybody knows the plan for FunFest further in advance. So Rob Krybek is here from the chamber if you have any questions for Rob in specific to the map or any of the applications. But that's all I have.
I guess I don't know if it's really a question, Rob, but based on the recommendations that were just outlined by Noah, do you anticipate there being any issues with meeting those recommendations?
No, I measured off the 30 feet from Knowles, and last year, actually, we provided 50 feet. So we're fine with 30. The only thought with putting a dumpster, there was a talk about some kind of a buffer. The chief was concerned about rides going right up to Knowles Avenue. So we're happy to relocate that dumpster behind the beer tent, and we'll create a better buffer to make sure people don't try and get in through the back way there. But no, they're all very doable, and appreciate all the community support. It's not easy to put on an event in a neighborhood, but thankfully we got almost every business to sign on, as well as homeowners along Arch and East 2nd. Barricades are obviously going to be a big issue, so we've talked to United Methodist. Last year, people were trying to shortcut through their little angled driveway there, so our plan would be to put barricades on both sides there to prevent that, as well as in front of Frontier Communication, because they get some deliveries from FedEx on Thursday and Friday. And then also Jason is here, and we've chatted about he's a fairly new resident to East 2nd, so he's kind of a double dipper because we deal with him at Gwynn Vinnipal and also now as a homeowner at 2nd. So our plan would be to put a barricade on East 2nd so that he has peace of mind that he has a place to park during the event. But no, all the recommendations we agree with.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the FunFest applications with the 9 conditions.
I'll second that. Third.
Fourth.
Any further questions?
Rob, I'm just gonna, because I really haven't heard anything lately. Are we in a good place with the property we talked about on East 3rd Street?
And she's here tonight. We chatted today. We've delivered the fence that was donated, the wooden fence. We have gotten some, Derek went out on site and determined what we need as far as posts, and laid out a plan, kind of a digital image of how it's going to look. So I'm about to email that to Nicole. I was tied up leading up to Park Art Fair, and I was gone last week in Madison. So we're going to get back at it, and we're going to finish the job.
Did you get my voicemail today?
Yeah, I did. Thank you for that. I'm amazed that you ran into her because I
Me
just
too.
saw her Friday, said goodbye. So thank you for that.
Any other questions? If not, take the roll, please.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert? Alderperson Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Vries?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Motion passes. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you very much.
A replat application and PUD amendment, Willow Wind reconfiguration east.
So this item was considered by the Plan Commission at their meeting last week, Tuesday. The Willow Wind development is located near the intersection of County Road A and West 8th Street. This would be south of the Deerfield campus. So this is an undeveloped portion of the development. This was previously platted a number of years ago for 48 units. In this case, the current developer is looking to make these lots slightly wider, which in the process you end up actually reducing the number of lots from 48 down to 46. So the map that is shown, you can see the blue and green lines just designated public water and sewer. So this is a little unique. Typically when we're doing a plat, this is rural land and there's no streets or sidewalks or anything in. This is really already an existing neighborhood. So in terms of the recommendation from staff and from the Plan Commission, we noted a couple of conditions on here. Essentially, because this was already, all the public infrastructure is already put in place, you already have water and sewer laterals for 48 units, so 2 of those will have to be abandoned. So that's at a cost of the developer, so they would remove those if there's any restoration work, patching the road, that's at their expense. And then there's a few lots, in some cases, where it looks like the existing water sewer lines may be a little close to the property line. And so if there's any easement or anything needed, that has to be done with the recording. But otherwise, staff and the Plan Commission both recommend approval of the reconfiguration. This would be 2 applications, so but it could be in one motion, would be for the replat application and the PUD amendment.
So Noah, you mentioned that if they need to abandon any of the, did you say laterals?
Yep.
That would be at the developer's expense. Is that
Yes.
true also if there needs to be an extension because they don't reach? I saw in the memo that the placement of them when you're making the lots bigger, that some properties now have 2 and some don't have any. So is the cost of the extension and bringing that to the property also the developers?
Yep, that would still be at the developer's
Okay.
cost. Yep.
No other questions? Do I hear a motion to approve the replat application and PUD amendment for Willow Wind reconfiguration?
I'll make a motion to approve the replat application and the PUD amendment with the conditions noted in the memo.
Second?
For discussion? Roll, please.
Alderman Volkert? Alderperson Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Vries?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Motion passes. Emergency warning siren.
So included in the agenda packet are a couple of maps for this item. One shows our existing coverage area, and then there's one that's more of a hotspot map, which would show the impact that having a new warning siren would have on the eastern area of the city. So we have not added an additional warning siren for a number of years. Obviously, we've had a lot of growth, especially out in the Fox Run and Whispering Prairie neighborhoods. And so as part of our capital plan for this year, we had designated funds to add an additional warning siren out in this area. And so that hotspot map shows a potential location in Fox Run. And again, the darker the circle, that darker orange, that's going to be where the siren is going to be heard, very loudly. And then as you get further away, obviously, you get more into the light yellows and greens. So the hope is to have coverage across the entire city. So this was previously discussed by the Public Safety Committee. They authorized staff to proceed with soliciting quotes for this. In addition to the actual siren itself, our New Richmond Utilities Electric Department would do the actual installation on a pole. So in addition to the actual quoted amount, there's additional cost for the pole and the labor associated with actually doing the installation. So the recommendation from staff would be to proceed with the warning siren from American Signal Corporation in the amount of $25,884.20. And the installation cost from New Richmond Utilities estimated at $5,500 for a total cost of $31,384.20.
Noah, did you say that that this one, tell me where the placement is again for this one?
So this would be out in kind of the northeast area of Fox Run.
Okay.
So it really would provide coverage for both.
But there was some testing done, I'm guessing, to see what the coverage is of the existing sirens, right? To
Yes.
identify that that was the best location?
Yes. And so when we looked at deficiencies and also just looking at, topography, where are some gaps, that was the biggest need for one.
Okay.
We looked at some options of, instead of buying a fifth siren, does it make sense to relocate the existing four? And it really, as the cities continue to grow, it didn't seem feasible to be able to really provide adequate coverage, across the city.
I just have to answer to my neighbors who say that the existing siren is deficient in the area that we live in. So I just want to have some information to provide them that there was a study and that it does, I mean, it looks like it reaches, obviously, we're just at the edge of it, but
And sometimes just depending on, sometimes even time of year. I mean, almost like the train coming through the city. Sometimes in winter you can hear it from further away. Obviously, these we're using during the severe weather time, but something we continue to test on a regular basis. And
Okay.
so if there is one that needs any repairs or modifications, something we'll certainly keep an eye on.
okay, thanks.
Any other questions? We have a motion to approve the emergency warning siren system.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
That's from Fulton Siren Services?
American Signal
American
Corporation.
Signal, yep.
It's the purchase through American Signal for $25,884.20 with the total, including installation, $31,384.20. You might have there was a couple different quotes, Jim, attached.
Agree.
So you might have the wrong one.
Well,
open.
anyways, hear a motion for that.
So there were two quotes that were identical. One is, that might be here. So one of them, basically same business, different business name. One is in Illinois, one is in Wisconsin. So it's the same quote, but it's really the same company.
Want to take the roll, please?
Alderperson Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert.
Motion passes. Next item, Casey Lift Station Rehab bids.
So this item was discussed by the Utility Commission at their meeting last week. This project was included in the capital improvement plan for the utilities. The Casey Lift Station, some people know it as the Casey Addition. This is near the intersection of 125th Street and Chestnut Drive. So this is just given its age and some of the pumps wearing out, was scheduled for some upgrades. And so only one bid was received in this case. Staff did reach out to multiple companies directly, but only one bid was received. This was from Quality Flow Systems Incorporated in the amount of $58,460. So the recommendation from staff and from the Utility Commission was to proceed with accepting the bid from Quality Flow Systems.
This is in line then with numbers, basically with the repairs?
So the initial estimate last year when we worked on the capital plan was $40,000. Essentially, as we looked at the pump, did thorough review this spring, there was additional deficiencies that were included. So the scope of the work ended up changing a little bit. So,
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the Quality Flow Systems bid in the amount of $58,460 for the Casey Lift Station. And Rayanne, I'm not going to ask.
I will second that.
Any other discussion? Not take the roll, please.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Alderperson Kraft.
Yes.
Passes. Resolution 062302, Tax Incremental District Termination Resolution for TID number 6.
Mayor and council, in your packet is a resolution that is necessary in order to formally close Tax Increment District 6. Last year, we took action to extend the final year of collection in order to go towards affordable housing efforts within the city. This resolution essentially will just close it effective June 13th of 2023. Therefore, the final year of collection will be in 2024 from the 23 tax roll. Following the final audit, we'll provide the audit report, which would be due a year from today.
I'll make a motion that we approve Resolution 062302, Tax Increment District Termination for TID number 6.
I'll second that.
Further discussion?
Can you remind us exactly where, or approximately where TID 6 is?
Yep. So TID 6 is on the south end of town, kind of encompassing from Richmond Way to the east. 5 and 6 kind of were very close to each other, so I would say it's like the second phase of the business and technical park area.
Thank you.
Alderman Vries.
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier.
Yes.
Alderman Montello.
Yes.
Alderman Volkert.
Yes.
Alderperson Kraft.
Yes.
Alderman Kittle.
Yes.
Motion passes. Tax Incremental District number 8, Final Accounting Report.
Yes. So Tax Increment District 8, which is located on, or was located, I should say, on the north end of the city, kind of encompassing both sides of Highway 64, up to County Road K and over by Nobles Drive area. The Tax Increment District was created in 2005. The termination date technically was last year, so we collect, again, that revenue from 22 and 23. So we do and conduct the final audit in 23. The base value of that tax increment district when it initiated was just over $15 million. And upon the closure, that grew to $42.4 million. So it saw a value increase of just over $26 million over that period of time. Now, Tax Increment District 8 in 2011 was considered distressed at that time, and then also the project plan was amended so that Tax Increment District 5, which was on the south end of town in the business and technical park, shared increment with 8 in order to cover the debt service payments and other obligations in Project 8's plan. Can you go to the next slide, Christy? Thank you. So during that period of time, really, when a tax increment district is distressed, the only really use of funds that can occur are to cover debt service and previous obligations prior to the district being considered distressed. So over the life of Tax Increment District 8, there was just under $7 million in increment that was earned. Total sources of funds equated to just over $14 million, and total expenditures within the district was just under $13 million. So at the end and the closure of the district, there was over just over $1.3 million in funds that now have to be dispersed to all the tax jurisdictions that share in that area in which TID 8 encompassed. So on the next slide, gives a breakdown of the funds that will be refunded to each jurisdiction upon this closure. So St. Croix County will receive $245,000 approximately. City of New Richmond will receive just under $458,000. The School District of New Richmond will receive just under $660,000, and then Northwoods Technical College just underneath $23,000. So the amount that will come to the City of New Richmond, that is unrestricted funds. There are no encumbrances on those besides the council encumbrances. It's also a portion that we will bring back to the council for discussion as part of the 2024 budget and future 5-year CIP planning as well. So this evening, we really wanted just to provide an overview of this district. It's formally closed, no longer is encompassed in a tax increment district, and that increment value base will be coming back onto the tax roll in 2023.
We have to approve this final accounting report?
No,
We don't have to do that, do we?
There's-
No?
Thanks, Ryan.
you're welcome.
Questions? Okay. Let's go to first quarter tourism funding recommendations.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On May 16th, the Tourism Committee met to review the applications that were received during the first quarter. Those included the Fat Tire Bike Worlds and New Richmond Baseball Club submitted for their 2022 season. After reviewing the applications, a recommendation was made for funding each of those. The committee had over $37,000 to distribute. After reviewing those, they actually funded both of those to their request and still had 11,700 that will carry over into 11,700 that'll carry over into the second quarter. Alderman Breeze was at that meeting as well, and either of us would be happy to answer any questions.
Was there any other applications?
Nope.
When's the next meeting?
So the Tourism Committee is going to have a work session meeting on a day to be determined in July. The next funding meeting is in August.
Okay.
Your motion to approve the first quarter tourism funding recommendations.
Make that motion.
Second?
For discussion? The roll, please.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderperson Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Breeze?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next item, Sports Center request for proposals for exterior repairs.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council again. The Sports Center earlier this winter had sustained some damage to the exterior of the building, in which the city is responsible for maintaining that. Some of the damage included broken vent pipe, gutters, downspouts, and fascia, as well as snow bars were ripped off due to the heavy snow load on the building as well. We did contact insurance and file a claim as part of our process and received authorization to move forward with the repairs. So in your packet is a draft request for proposal. So this evening we're seeking authorization to move forward with bidding for those repairs. There are a few additional options that we have noted in the RFP itself. The first option being additional retention bars or snow bars on the roof. That is part of the insurance recommendations in order to potentially help with snow mitigation and moving forward to hopefully avoid any farther damage. And then two is a protective cover on a heat vent that's on the exterior of the building that has had damage previously. That component would not be covered by insurance proceeds. But the other aspects, which is why we have it listed as an option to see what that would come back as a price, and we can elect to move forward or not. So as it's drafted, we would request proposals back by June 28th, and then we would bring this forward during the July 10th meeting for award.
The optionals would not be covered at all then?
No, the optional work would not be covered, so that's why we have broken it out separate from the covered work so that we can evaluate those when those quotes are received.
Do you have any idea what, I suppose that's kind of giving a sneak peek to people who are going to bid on it, but any idea what the cost is, or is that just something we wouldn't speculate on?
At this time, we wouldn't speculate on what it is.
What portion does the city have to pay? I mean, deductible?
We have a $1,000 deductible on buildings.
1,000, okay.
Correct.
Your motion to approve request for proposals for exterior repairs.
I'll make a motion to approve the request for proposals for Sports Center exterior building repairs.
Further discussion? Take the roll, please.
Alderman Montello?
Yes.
Alderman Volkert?
Yes.
Alderperson Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle?
Yes.
Alderman Breeze?
Yes.
Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Communication and miscellaneous. I've got one, the backpack concessions at Heritage Center concerts. They're looking for some help for like 3 nights to help serve food. The money raised from that is going to go to the backpack program for the schools. And there's 3 dates where they need help. August 2nd, they need 3 helpers. August 16th, they need 3 helpers. And August 23rd, they need 4 helpers. And the hours would be like from 5 to 8:30. They're gonna help, you'll help serve food and, you know, that, collect money and that type of thing. But all the money goes to the school backpack program. So if anybody wants to volunteer, let me know. Lynette McCarty is in charge of this. She's in charge of the backpacks for the schools, and she got a hold of me, and I said I'd let city staff here, or council members, if they'd like to volunteer for one of those nights. Those 3 things. I've got some sheets here too, just to remind you, but anybody else have any notes here, or communication or miscellaneous?
I do. I want to publicly thank Lori Brinkman for all of her years of service with the city, who's moving on to new adventures. So, thank her.
I second that.
I also just wanted to recognize Amber Tauchi as our new planner, was here this evening. So if you see her around the office, just be sure to say hi. And then to piggyback off Pete's comment, Lori's last day is this Friday. So if you see her around here in the next couple of days, please thank her.
Welcome.
Amber, I don't want to set your expectations too high, but we typically don't have a turnout like this for our regular council meetings. So when you come and there's only, Tom is in the audience and 1 or 2 other people, don't be shocked.
I
'cause-
feel like we're going to start seeing bigger
I mean,
crowds
we
now.
might,
These
we might.
folks
I
all had a
love the
great
public
time.
engagement. I love it. So,
I'm glad this many people stayed around, because there's some good information, what's happening in our community, and where we're spending some of the money. So I'm glad you hung around just to listen to what goes on at one of our council meetings.
Yeah.
Thank you.
even if it was just guilt because you felt bad.
If not, we're going to go into closed session for
One
state-
more,
Monica's
one
got
more,
something.
Oh, one more.
one more.
Library. Monica. Anything else? Now, oh.
You know where he's talking about,
Uh,
Noah? Up by the electric utilities building, up on top of the pole, there's a large, it's a giant nest.
I don't have any information on it.
We'll put it on our website. Okay, Noah will put it on our website for an update on the osprey nest.
I'll include it in the minutes if I find out.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now I'm interested.
Me too.
Thank you for attending. We're going into closed session, so everybody has to leave. To hear
I would make a
go into
motion to
closed
go in-
session per state statute 19.85, 1E, deliberating or negotiating.
I'll second
Public
it.
properties.
I'll second.
Take the roll, please.
Alderman Volkert? Alderperson Kraft?
Yes.
Alderman Kittle? Alderman Breeze? Alderman Weinmeier?
Yes.
Alderman Montello?
Yes. We're in closed session.
Always scary.
Are you
True.
available if I gave you a call? May have something on the library. So.
Think you're walking?
Yeah, does 8 o'clock work if I call you then? Okay, I'll put it on my calendar.
I don't know.
Right.
Oh, you're first, okay. Yep. Thanks.
I'm all right. Are you all right?
Fine.
updates from Mary. Other Mary. And you,
I have to like, should I like hang out? I was wondering. Yeah, I can do that.
You'll probably see, so you'll see them leave, second item.
I am happy.
I think the thing is, I'm just gonna tell you how. Some who weren't very nice.
Everyone. Cold noise.
Walked in the house.
you walk down the stairs. You've been.
That right in the front room.
And Nature Energy can make
Try to talk for 20 minutes.
some of the things that were